I don't know if you know why I'm bothering you here today for. I've been around the record business for the last 30 years. I've been president of labels and things like that. I'm head of Capitol Records now, but I wanted to do a book. I wanted to talk to people in the music business. It's not my book, it's just some stories. I've talked to 210 people from Hampton, Woody Herman, Artie Shaw, through today. And it's impossible to do it without...
Artie Shaw, where the shit did you catch up with him at?
And I think he's still talking. Do you know how that man talks? God almighty. He lives out in the valley. He lives way out in the valley.
I love him so much, man.
He is so smart. He is so interesting.
You'll never know. I'm serious. I mean, you'll never know. I almost cried literally tears when I think of what a loss it was that he stopped playing me. I know you think I'm kind of putting you on, but I'm deadly serious. I would not say this if I didn't mean it. I'm too old for this fuck. I'll be 57 years old this year. And I'm telling you the truth. Ever since I was a kid, he was the guy that I love so much, which caused me to start playing saxophone or clarinet. Well, actually, I started playing clarinet because I wanted to play like Artie. I always, and everybody was excited about Benny Goodman, which is not to say Benny Goodman wasn't great, but Artie Shaw to me had so much feeling in his notes. Every note, you could feel his heart. And I have to tell you, man, I don't know, and it's none of my concern, and I realize that, but I'll tell you something. It's like a person dying. At least if he was dead, you can say, well, if you're dead, you can't do. But what hurts me is that it looked like just one day he just woke up and just said, fuck it.
He had his own...
I mean, that's it.
That's it. He really did. He said, I can't stand playing the same thing every day, and they won't let me try anything different. But, Ray, I asked him, how good were you? He said, there were nights I was the best there ever was. He said.
It's true. You want to know something? And you know that might, just to some people, they may not can relate to that. But I honestly believe that about this man. I think that there were nights when he was as good as he wanted to be. Period. Point blank. I think he could do anything with that horn that he thought of. Although now here's what I don't understand. I mean, I know you didn't come in to talk to me about Artie Shaw, but since I just want to ask you one question about it, though, maybe you could help me with it, because it's been a minute. He said to you that they would not let him. You know, I got tired of doing the same thing on. They wouldn't let me. Who was they?
The audience. He said he tried to change some notes and begin the beginning. He tried to play Frenesy a different way. And the audience and the radio stations they used to broadcast on then wouldn't let him change it. They said, play it just like the record. I said, but everybody does that, man. They all go and play. He says, I couldn't stand it.
No, but he's right. I don't, you know what, but, see, I can't quite relate because, you know, I know what the man is saying, but, you know, but I don't sing Georgia like the record. I don't sing I Can't Stop Loving You like I sing I Can't Stop Loving You, true. I sing Georgia, true. I sing Hit the Road Jack, true. I sing What I Say, true. But I don't, you know what I mean is, each night I sing it the way I feel that night. Ain't no way in the fuck I can sing Georgia the same way I played on the day, because I'd have to go and study myself and learn. I mean, it really would be a chore. It would be like going and trying to learn what somebody. I'd have to completely learn. That's why I can't lip sync. I mean, it's the hardest thing in the world for me to do is when somebody say, well, now we want you to pantomize this. Now you just go and act like you. Well, see, my lips are good because I can't remember. I have to. Anyhow, man, okay, I'll let you go on with your question. But that just hurt me so much. I mean, I've always been in my life, you know, I'll tell you something. One of the things I said that I would like to do one day is to sit down and write a book about things that I totally, absolutely cannot understand. You know? Because I think I have enough to fill a book. And one of them is Artie Shaw. Here's a man that was one of the greatest musicians, I feel, with a clarinet ever lived. And I agree with him. I think on any given night, he was the greatest. And he ain't lying. He's truthful. It takes guts to come out and say it, but he's right. You see? No, never met him. Don't know. Oh, I would. Are you kidding?
I set up. I work out with Artie.
I'd give anything.
You and Artie Shaw and I sit down.
Anything.
And you two talk. I'll just put you two together.
I'd give anything in the world to meet this man. I mean, why? because as a child, I'm serious. When I listened to Artie Shaw as a child, you know, I loved him then, including his theme song. You know how that old theme was, doom, doom, boom, boom. It was so haunting. You know, that's right. As a child, I go way back. He was the guy that when I went to school and I couldn't get into piano class because there was too many people playing piano, so I took clarinet. Why? Because Artie Shaw played it. And that's the God's truth. I'm telling you the truth.
That's a project, right?
Okay. Well, one of these days, if I ever get a chance to meet him, I had two people in my life that I wanted to meet. Thank God I was able to meet one of them before he died, and then the other one was Art Tatum, but he's dead now. But I did get to meet him before he died. Yeah, come in.
Howard, I'm going to set up a meeting with Charles and Artie Shaw. He's talking about what a fan or what an influence Artie Shaw.
Oh, he was tremendous. Okay. Okay, all right. Yeah. I heard it. Yeah. All right, blood. I'll be with you in a minute. Yeah, Nat Cole. Nat Cole was the guy that I wanted to pattern my life after, my career. Why? Because I wanted to do what Nat Cole did. See, a lot of people may not realize, but Nat Cole was a tremendous pianist. I mean, people know him for his singing. His voice is so mellow and all this sort of thing. Which I'm not, I'm not belittling that. I mean, I don't want to make small of that. But what attracted me most to Nat Cole was what he did with the piano. There's another person, as I was saying to you, that I was listening to, when I was a youngster, 8 years old, 9 years old, when he was doing the, what's that, the Straighten Up and Fly Right. But even before that, well, 66 came much later. I'm talking about in the earlier years where Waiting All for You and, he did all kinds of stuff where mainly even had some records of him where all three guys were singing. It was really a trio. Oh yeah, it was really a trio. He just after a while they used to basically do a lot of things together, and Nat would sing like the middle or something like that. And after a while, but anyhow, he was the man that I felt that I wanted to, because he played this tasty stuff behind his singing. And that's what I wanted to do. He was my idol, Nat Cole. And, of course, Charles Brown was another person who was very influential because he had a voice that I liked. So those two people, I think, were very strong. And, of course, again, I had some other people who I loved so many people. It depended on what kind of mood I was in. I guess I'm still that way today. I was a great lover of people like Tampa Red and Blind Boy Phillips and these old blues singers. I remember Big Joe Turner did this thing with Art Tatum many years ago, Wee Baby Blues. And I was just a kid, 8 years old, and I used to sit and hear that, man. Oh God, it just knocked me out. You see, yeah. See, so I guess with me it was many people, but I think the ones who were directly influential as far as in my career was Nat Cole and Charles Brown and Art Tatum, as I mentioned earlier to me. I mean, he was just, to me, I looked at it as God of us all. I mean, who was going to, I never thought of myself as being that kind of piano player because I never could understand how anybody could do that.
Did you know he was blind?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I didn't, until I saw a picture of him in down.
Yeah, but I think he could see a little bit, though. But I don't think he was. But he, I just could not believe that anybody could take 10 fingers. So I told him to do some stuff with his left hand. I mean, just, while he just playing with his left hand, boom. It's incredible. So, I wasn't even thinking about that. That's just how you have somebody that you don't even, you just say, hey, it does let me know what can happen with a piano, but it's so far out of my reach, out of my realm. I'm not. I just like to. This is something you just listen to. You don't try to think this way. So that's Artatum was God to me, but Cole, Nat Cole and Charles Brown were people who I tried to emulate and imitate.
Well, later on, when you developed this great mixture of style that came along in the 50s, were there any people like Guitar Slim you had something going with, or you played with Lowell Fulson? Did those guys have any impact on you as an artist at all?
No, absolutely not. No, that you see by the, no. I told you the people that had the influence on me.
I was wondering later on when you
no, because you see by then, I mean I was very, I mean I'm not bragging, but I was very, very much advanced musician by then. I mean by the time I met Lowell and Guitar Slim, I mean I wrote the music for Guitar Slim to do his song. I don't know if you know that.
No, I didn't know.
He did a record called The Things I Used to Do. That was his big hit. Well, I wrote the music for that. See, so you learned something, didn't you?
Well, I sure did. Well, I expect to learn a lot. Well, you have been, such an influence on so many others. James Brown, or Sam Cooke, or Wilson Pickett, or Reddy. Is that a load for you to be considered this legendary genius? Is that a hard responsibility?
No, because I personally think it's great. I think it's wonderful that you have people in the world that admire what you do so well that they don't copy you, but they take a page from your book. I think that's great. I think it's marvelous, and but I don't look at it as a responsibility or something. It's kind of like somebody asked me one time how I feel about being called a genius. Do I feel I have to live up to something? I mean, it ain't that kind of ball game. I feel that whatever people say about me or call me or I mean, that's them. That ain't me. I don't get hung up with that. But I am. I mean, let's face it. You know what they say? They say the highest compliment is the highest flattery is imitation.
And you don't feel any special responsibility?
No, responsibility to what or to who? I mean, that's what I mean. I'm not trying to be cute, but
it's built-in pressure. I mean, you gotta always be out there as some kind of figure, some kind.
No. All I do. But you see, I didn't create the figure.
I know.
You see, so I don't have to do. I didn't create that. I just do what I do, and as long as God keeps breath in my body, I'll continue to do what I do. Now, I mean, all the little adjectives and different things that people have put on me and things have said about. I had nothing to do with that. I never said I was a genius. I've never told nobody that. I never said I was a cornerstone. I've never said I'm a legend in my own time. You never heard me say nothing like that. Other people have said that, but never me. So, no. What I want to do is if God willing, is to continue to have good health, number one, and play my music and sing my songs like I've been doing, and hope that the public will continue to appreciate it, and the musicians, the people who know what I'm doing, obviously I'm very satisfied, and I'm very thankful that they also recognize what I'm doing. But I'm not in the business to try to hold up some kind of some kind of picture that somebody has painted of me, and all of a sudden I got to live up to what I got to live up to is being myself. If I do that, the rest will take care of itself.
Do you think you intimidate anybody when you go in the studio and here is this man walking?
Yeah, I do. I don't think I know I do, but then I think that most great artists who are extremely known as I am would intimidate a lot of people. I think if Aretha Franklin walked in the studio or Barbra Streisand or Frank Sinatra, or I think they would intimidate a whole lot of people. In other words, the people who are boss in this business, I think. And I'm not trying to call myself a boss, but I'm saying the people, meaning that who have a very, very strong reputation. Just like a great conductor, when he walks into a room, and the musicians, he can walk in and you can hear a pin drop, when he gets to stand, So it's sure I do realize that I don't want to do that to people, but I know I do. Yes. Matter of fact, I'm glad since you mentioned that. That's one of the things what I do when I'm having rehearsal, and there are new guys who come in to try for the job. I always let my conductor rehearse it because I don't want the guy to get bent out of shape because I walk in. I always stay out of the rehearsal room, when they first come in. Yeah. Then once they've had a chance to play a little bit, then I walk in. But I know, because I've seen guys fall apart, man. Don't ask me why. I don't know. But
when you look at you or you look at Frank Sinatra, you're not looking, even what you're doing up on stage, as much as you're looking at the history of
things. I think that's what it is. I think you just said it. I think that's quite right. And of course, but that's why I say I can understand that, and I can appreciate that because I know how I would feel. Like I was telling you the story about Artie Shaw. I mean, I feel the same way as people would feel about me. I mean, to me, he's something else. I mean, I don't know what you would call a person like Artie Shaw. I mean, he's talking about something special. Well, that's the way I look at him, and so I can understand how people feel when they come, when they get around me. They look at me as something special, and I'm gratified by that. I must tell you, and I'm not being modest, although I'm very gratified with that. But I have to be honest with you, I'm still not quite used to it. I'm still sort of at awe when I go places in the world where they speak very little English, and yet they know me on sight. They know my music. I really marvel at that. I still can't quite grasp that. But isn't it wonderful?
Still gives you a kick.
Yes, indeed. It still gives me a kick.
And does it always give you a kick when you hear that audience reaction out there? Still?
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise you wouldn't go out and play it.
Yeah. Well, I tell you something. I've always loved it. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why I've never been an artist that, and they say that I'm kind of weird. People say I'm kind of weird because normally when you go out in front of an audience, especially in certain places, you're supposed to have a bit of nervousness about you, And I've never had that. I guess because I never had sense enough I was so happy. I remember the first time I went to Carnegie Hall, and normally you would think that you'd be scared stiff. Yeah, I mean, that's what you're supposed to be, at least according to what everybody. Wherein for me, as opposed to being scared, I was so glad, and so something I always wanted if I ever got to come. You ever have something in your mind and you say, oh Lord, this is the ultimate of my goal. This is the greatest things I've been waiting. I couldn't wait to get out on stage to do. So I never was. I was so happy to be able to play Carnegie Hall and be there. I was so excited that I was there. I guess I didn't take time to say, look, fool, you better get nervous about this first.
Have you ever been at any other kind of day where you've been in awe? I mean, you're going to play for a president or going to play for...
Oh, yeah, but as I said, I've been in awe of the people, but never nervous about my work. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's being egotistical or not, but I think what it is, it's not that I'm so sure of myself, it's just that the enjoyment of doing what I do. See, I want to go out on stage because I love the fact of playing my music and knowing that I'm making people happy. I don't know why that is, as opposed to having the fear of wondering, oh my God, I wonder if they're going to like me. Oh my, I know I'm supposed to be concerned about that, but I don't think that way. I think that what I wonder about is am I going to like it? I don't know why, man. I feel that if I'm getting to, I got to be. All I wanted, I was more happy. What really made me happy was the way the jobs came in. See, I wasn't even thinking about the, I mean, the record, of course, was a source. I mean, I don't want to mislead you and make you misunderstand me, but I'm, for my personal feeling, what I was happy about was that we were getting more jobs than we were. See, before we were working sporadically, every now and then we work one. Now, all of a sudden we were working a lot, and that's what was important. That's what I cared about, man. All of a sudden I'm going around, and these crowds of people, and I'm playing my music. Again, it's the music. That was a thing for me, man, and it has always been that, and I guess it'll be that until I die, man. It's the music and the public, between me and the public. And when we got, of course, I had records out that had done well in the, well, not on the mess around, but you see, you must remember, I had records that was what people call race music or whatever. I mean, this when I did things with in 1949, it was a very big record called "Baby Let Me Hold Your Hand," but that was only in the black community. It didn't cross over. So you had a lot of music, man, that black artists did. I'm sure you did research. You're doing research on your book. You know this, so I'm not telling you nothing. Matter of fact, even in the 50s, the records that were big in the black community, then white artists would cover it so it would become big in the white field. I mean, it's true. Shit. Nothing personal. I mean, I'm just telling you how it was. That's right, Pat Boone. Well, it was Pat Boone, but he wasn't alone now. Hell, you had Pat Boone, he was just one of the people that did it. You had a lot of people,
Speaking of the music, when you started to mix blues and gospel and all that too, did you get much heat from the black church at all?
Well, I didn't. There was some people from some of the churches who made statements that reached the news media, but it didn't bother me. It was, I heard about it when somebody who's doing an interview and they come and they'd say, "But what do you think about Reverend so and so and so and so saying you da da da?" And I said, "Well, I can't think anything because I don't know the man. I mean, how can I give it up? This shit." Everybody have a right, man. The first thing you learn is this is American. I don't give a damn what anybody tell you. This is America, and I love it. So if somebody don't like something I do, that's his or her prerogative, just like it's mine not to like something. So I did get a little bit. That was a little bit of static from what the news media asked me about, because they asked me about a couple of different religious people who had spoken out and saying that I was doing religious music, which was not. But I mean, they totally misunderstood. All I was doing was being myself, and it's true. I was raised in a church, but I can't help what I sound like. What I sound like is what I am. I cannot be anything other than what I am. And fortunately for me, I knew that at the time, although I was only about 24, 25 years old, but I had sense enough to know that. See, my mom taught me a lot, man. A lot about minding your own business and leaving other people's business alone and let them think what they want and don't get. So at least that was my attitude when the media was asking me what I thought of those things. I said, well, hey, that man is he's, first of all, I don't know the man. That's number one. Now, so what can I tell you about? Here's a guy, voice and opinion. Yet on the other hand, I can look out here at these crowds of people I'm seeing every night. Somebody must like what I'm doing. That was just common sense. So I didn't think I had to low rate what the man was saying or be mad and all that. See, you look at what's happening in your life. The public has supported me, man. Do you know that? The public has supported me from the time, even when I was a youngster and I was not in those days. Nobody knew of me. But my music, the public supported me even when I was nobody. And they still do it today. And they have supported me even through all the trials and tribulations and suffering and stuff I went through, hassles and shit I had. But they still stuck by me. And that's why I believe in giving the public the best I got every night. All I got. So when you see me on stage, man, that's What you see is everything I got. I never go out there and half do. I don't care how big the audience is. If we got 500 or 5,000, I work the same way because I want those 500 to go back and say, man, it wasn't too many of us there, but boy, they put on a hell of a show. Back with
the music again. After Little Girl of Mine, Nobody But You, Lonely Avenue, there were a bunch of years where you were all over the place doing jazz at Newport, doing ballads with strings, some with those strings, doing so. This had to be the most fertile period. I can't recall another artist who could spread over so many things. What was going on back there with you?
I was lucky. I was lucky in the sense that I was with a real good company. I was with Atlantic at the time, the Spirit you're talking about. And the guys there, I have to say they were very smart in the sense that they saw something and they didn't interfere. You know, it takes a smart person to know when not to interfere, even though you have the power to do it. It takes a smart person to say, hey, I think things are better if I just keep my nose out of it. But Atlantic did exactly what I'm telling. What they did, they let me do the music, and they did the marketing, which was smart because when I would go in and I'd call Jerry up or Ahmet and say, hey man, I'm ready. They say, okay, whenever you want to come on in and record. Honestly, it sounds crazy, but this was not. They would send me songs. They never ever told me I had to record no song. Now, of course, they're a record company. Naturally, they get songs sent in from different publishing companies and all that. That's understandable. But they never ever said, hey man, now this song here, we want you do this. Never. That's why I wrote a lot of music in my early years, because they would send me songs and I didn't like them. So I knew I had to record, so I'd sit down and write my own music. It just turned out that I was lucky.
Kick now, is there something you want to do that hasn't been done in this incredible career?
Well, you know, sir, it would really be marvelous if there were. But you see, if the Supreme Being is willing to give me each day my health and allow me to, I can't teach because I don't have the patience to teach, but to coach. You know, a coach can take a talent that has talent, but it's raw. You know, he can hone the edges of it. You know, like a good baseball coach, a good pitcher coach. I'd like to take in music, you know, take youngsters who are coming along and help them, you know, and teach them and show them the ropes and explain to them what they should do, and even the psychological points about how to be and how to conduct yourself when you're working with people. Little things that I'd like to do that, but I don't have any personal rivers to cross or any personal mountains to climb for myself, because as I said, I have won every kind of award that you could possibly could win in my profession. I mean, there is nothing in my profession that I haven't won. You know, I mean, really. I mean, you name it, I got it. So, you know, I mean, I don't think that one needs to want to go. I think what's important now is to continue to perform at your best and to contribute something back to the world. In other words, put some salt back into the earth, you know, and that's what we try to do. That's why now I'm involved in ear research. As I know you think I'd be involved in eye research, but it's not so. I'm in ear research because I have so much respect for hearing, and I don't know what would happen to me if I couldn't hear. And I think it is really helpful, because had it not been for hearing, I don't know where I would be, not only for myself as a person, but where would my music be? Who, you know, if the people couldn't hear it and enjoy it. So I would just like to be able to promote that, and hopefully that we're able to learn things about hearing disorders and be able to help people who